Hi. So in 2023, I made a big claim that 2023 was gonna be the year where I stopped using my phone. Now, there's a little problem with that statement. I wasn't able to continue, and unfortunately, I had to give up on my hopes and dreams. This is why, and this is the story of how it happened. By the way, hello, my name is Gal. This is a little channel that I opened recently. This is a little channel that I opened recently as a New Year's resolution, where I just wanted to talk, hang out, and let people have something to just put in the background. So let's go back to the phone. I was having a problem with spending too much time on my phone. Something that I really like to do when I'm addicted to something is to just stop doing it completely. I've done it with other things that I was addicted to, and when I was deciding to stop and when I was realizing that this was a problem for me and it was causing me distress and social consequences, health consequences, I just stopped doing it radically, and usually it works. I would have to say I'm a very disciplined person. Fantastic. I'm really happy about that. And that's what I wanted to do. So you have to imagine, for months, that's what I did. I didn't have a smartphone with me. There's a little problem with this, which is that our society is mega wired for smartphone. Everything is made for that. So I had a little bit of a problem surviving in a city environment without a phone that can connect Google Maps, Wikipedia, WhatsApp. You get it. So this is a few things that I had to do while I was not having a smartphone. I had a really hard time doing public transportation. I live in Switzerland, and public transportation is essential in everyday's life. You take the tram, you take the bus, you take the train. That's like central in our lives. We do it all the time. So when you don't know when the trains are coming and you don't know what time they are coming, and sometimes maybe you don't have a ticket for them unless you have to go to a machine and buy it, then it becomes a problem. So I would have to just find a way to know when the bus were coming and what bus was better, and it was pretty impossible to do. The other problem was that I didn't have all my contacts from my phone, my smartphone, to my flip phone, my Nokia, which, it's kind of hard, I would say, to communicate. And I remember having a lot of issues every time I would leave, because I would have to check if the people that I might need to contact are on my flip phone, which sometimes they were not. So I would have to manually add every contact before I left my house. And that sometimes was impossible because I wouldn't think to see these people. And I felt myself cut out of a lot of events, a lot of things going on, just because I couldn't reach the people, and just because people could not reach me while I was outside, because they were texting me on WhatsApp, they were texting me on Instagram, and obviously I didn't have access to that on my flip phone. Another problem was the lack of Google Maps, which obviously it's very central and you don't get addicted to, but you really don't have the chance of living in a society without Google Maps. Unfortunately, it's really complicated, and I hate that I have to say it, but it was really hard. Another thing that made it impossible was the two-factor authentication that I would have to use for a lot of things. For example, when I used to go to university, to connect to the account of the university, you would have to do the two-step authentication, which meant that I couldn't connect to the account when I was home, because I had my smartphone home, just so I could connect to the two-factor authentication. So that means that you cannot go study in the library after you go to school, but you have to go back home, take the phone, open it, and then you have to study home, which is where you have your phone, which is a distraction. So in a way, you kind of have to find a balance of not having your phone and using your phone to study, which sometimes was a bit complicated, and it was creating a lot of nonsense where I was just on my phone because I was home, because I couldn't study because I didn't have a phone. So that was kind of confusing, and you get what I'm saying, that it's kind of complicated. This with other factors such as lack of Spotify, lack of filming, and lack of everything else made it a bit complicated and a bit hard to just live without a phone. I did try to combat it. For example, I did spend a lot of time preparing before I left. I would draw maps on a piece of paper and I would bring it with me so that I could know where to go, because sometimes I didn't have people to ask where to go. I couldn't ask people if the street was empty. I couldn't ask them where to go. So I had to be ready to run, ready to work. And unfortunately, that wasn't always possible, but I did try. I did get to a moment where I had to decide how much time I wanted to spend, because I didn't want to waste any time by being on my phone. I did like a compromise solution, which was to delete everything from my phone that was causing me distraction and just spend the time on my phone, but without the distractions. I just had like Spotify pretty much. That was the only distracting thing that I could have. So I was just listening to podcasts. I was doing my best. But I got to a point where, because my phone broke, I had to change it. And on the new phone, I didn't have the same settings, so it was a bit harder to continue. And I am kind of back to distracting roads. But unfortunately, I don't know if it's even possible to stop it, because I will need my phone to live in this society, which is kind of sad and depressing to think about. But we have like changed our society so much to make sure that everybody can use their phone in the easiest way as possible, and to have the phone as central, because that is more convenient, that is more productive for like companies or whatever, that we are kind of like not allowing people that don't have a phone to easily work and manage everything as well. Especially since I had a phone and then I had to stop it. So it's kind of awkward to call the bank and say, hey, can you like undo my 2-factor authentication? Because I would have to call that for them. I would have to explain it. It's kind of bad. You know what I mean? It's difficult. So yeah, I find it complicated, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that I tried, and I am glad that I still had that. I did use my flip phone again in the summer of the same year. I was still doing the exams for university, which was hard, but at least I got to just be in the nature by myself without any phones, just studying my subjects on my piece of paper. It was so stressful, but at least I didn't have a lot of distractions. And I did a really strange life, because I would walk so much and I would just spend the time thinking about the subjects that I would have to study, full knowingly that the next year I would do something completely different and I would start again from scratch. But I'm happy I did, because now I have a degree, which I can definitely flex every time I speak with people. So this is why I have stopped with the flip phone and went back to my smartphone, unfortunately. I hope I can manage to find a better solution, like a more compromised solution. If you do know of any phones that are really strict with like not making it easy to spend a lot of time in it, and still have Spotify and photo and everything else, that would be interesting for me. Still let me know, because it's something that I am open to do in the future. But at the moment, I just don't have the time to strategize every day ways to not waste any more time. In a way, it's kind of the funny thing about productivity, spending time on productivity, how much time spent on productivity is necessary for you to spare time. Because there's a point where you spend so much time thinking about it, then the time you spare is less and less. So thank you for watching until here. I hope you liked it. I hope you got entertained, and you can leave a comment. You can tell me what you think about it. You can tell me like if you tried to do something like that, because I know a lot of people, especially young people, that do it, but I know about a certain amount of people that do it, and it feels like it's more and more, it's growing. So let me know what you think. And I mean, if you want to like the video, I'm not gonna be against it. If you want to subscribe, I mean, what am I, crazy? And I want to do as many videos as I can. So maybe See you in the future, especially if you subscribe, because I see you. I value you. You're great.